Hello, 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 YouTube world. G'day, Ben here for episode 43 of Pixel Chatter. That's right, the show where we drink coffee if you're in Australia and probably some other alcohol if you're somewhere else in the world. The show where we talk things photography, critiquing a couple of images today. We have mail for the worldwide sticker board that you can see up behind me. We are going to announce the challenge winners for the VIP, the very important photographer challenge. And we're going to critique a couple of viewer images. Just another episode of Pixel Chatter. Good morning. Let's have a look in the chat box and see who's joining us this morning for Pixel Chatter episode 43. Certainly maturing, isn't it, this show? G'day, Anthony. G'day, Tommy, who is Viking over in Hong Kong. G'day, Tim. Hope it works better tonight. Me too. I hope it works better all the time, but unfortunately I'm not in control of that. The IT gods are. Anthony's teaching a friend how to use a coffee machine. Yeah, well, I've been pressing the cappuccino button on my one. G'day, Rick. Hey, Dave. Waldemar from Scotland. Beautiful. Lovely place in the world, Scotland. You've got some great photography locations there. Very lush green hills. Lots of history. Love it up there. Been up there once. Got to get back. Philip, g'day from sunny Brisbane. Handy Parts, hi. Ren, g'day. How you going, buddy? All the way from WA. Alrighty, well, I think everything's working well, so let's get the show underway. First of all, I want to say thank you to those of you that are supporting the show through the VIP group, the very important photographer group. You can join as a VIP if you go to patreon.com/on3legs. This show is brought to you by the people that watch the show, which is pretty awesome. You join this VIP group and you'll end up in a private group online. Get to participate in some challenges and other banter that happens in that group. It's been a bit quiet actually in the VIP group. I think everyone got a bit shy because this week's challenge was to put up a picture of yourself, a selfie, and that upset a few people because they said they don't want to show their face. Maybe I'm more out there than most. I don't know. I don't mind taking a selfie, but I know a lot of people are shy. So don't be shy. Get your selfies up. It's been a bit of fun. Dennis from Alabama. Sweet home Alabama. Beautiful. Have a hack for red light at night. Handy Parts. Okay. Have a hack for red light at night. Maybe you can share that with me via email and I'll share it on the show. Handy Parts. Brian's just joined us as well. Lovely to see. Okay. So, you would have seen this when I kicked off the show. I had the wrong slide up, but that's okay. You can follow me on social media if you want. Join me on these social media pipes. I've been a bit inactive over the last couple of weeks. Full of excuses, I am. I was moving my other business. Unfortunately, photography doesn't pay my mortgage. I wish it did, but it doesn't. So I have to do real work. And I have to have a business, and I've got a business that I had to move location, so that kept me busy. And then the last week, you might hear I'm a bit nasally. I've been struck down with the man flu, and if you're like me, well, I'm like most men, the man flu takes us down. We're not as strong as the women, and when it comes to the flu, so I've had a pretty rough week because I've had to keep plugging along anyway. But that's all right. I will become more active again in the coming weeks on these social media pipes. G'day, Richard. Thanks for joining us. All right, let's get back over to this live video here. Okay, so let's kick off with a shot kit. I do have a shot kit sent in to me today, and today's shot kit was sent in by Phil, who I believe is in the... Which Philip have I got? No, different Phil. This is Phil, I think. Oh, maybe it is you, Phil, is it? I don't know. Yes, it is. This is Phil. This is from Phil in the chat box. Philip Kingsford. Excuse me for getting that wrong originally, because there's a few Phils that send me stuff, so I get confused. Anyway, I'll show you his shot kit. Let's have a look. We always like to have a peek. We're pretty nosy people. We like to have a peek in other people's bags and see what it is that they've got and carry around with them when they're out doing a shoot. And this idea was inspired by Mark's site, shotkit.com, that I was featured on some time ago. And you can always go over there and check out all the amazing photographers and the gear they use. They always have sample images as well, so it's a good way to see if there's any beautiful locations or types of photography or photographers that you could follow. There's lots of examples on there. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So we have a viewer send in a shot kit every week. I've got a couple in the bank at the moment, but I would still love you to send them in because it's a great segment. Everyone's interested by them. So this is Philip's kit. And Phil says, I've been watching for some time now and thought I would finally get around to taking a photo of my kit. What you can see here is a Canon 6D up the top there. He's got a 24-105 f4, which is a very popular lens for that camera. I think it's a kit lens, isn't it? I'm not sure. The 16-35 f4, which is an amazing... the f4 lenses, because Nikon makes one as well, are great lenses for landscape photography because they're lighter, but do a great job. The 70-200 there you can see is the Canon, I don't know what you'd call that, grey, light grey, that everyone is sort of familiar with. And then he said apart from the 16-35, everything else is second-hand. Look, nothing wrong with buying second-hand. I mean, I've just sold a stack of gear second-hand, and I know how well I look after my gear. So if you can score something good, why not? Why not save a buck or two? I like buying second. I bought a lot of stuff second-hand. Just be careful. Because I did had on Gumtree once with a lens. I bought a lens on Gumtree that had been dropped. So you've got to be careful. What else we got here? He says he's got a Nissi landscape kit plus a couple of extra filters in there. So you can see that's the landscape, the Nissi kit. You can see that brown box. It's pretty synonymous with the Nissi gear. You know, you're starting to see that a lot more people with that gear. And then you've got, what else we got there? He said, I upgraded from a $60 tripod that served me well, but became too flogged out due to being dunked and used in landscape, and upgraded to a 3-legged Winston. A lot of people doing that. A lot of people loving the Winstons. I think they're a pretty popular... Oh, gosh. My dog wants to bark all of a sudden. I just let him in because he was scratching on the door of my little study. Hopefully he'll settle down. What else we got there? 3-legged thing, Winston, and you have the optional spiked feet. You know what? I've got the spiked feet for one of my tripods because it just came with it, but I've never used them. So I'd be interested to see if... I'll be interested to see if people actually use the spiked feet. The bag is a low-pro flip-side Trek. In the pack I carry bandages in case of snake bites, etc., filter cloths, and the remote is a Hunal capture, which I'm pleased to get. Keep up the great work, Phil. Alrighty. Let's see. Alright, so that's cool. Thanks for sending that in, Phil. I'm actually a bit confused as to which Phil sent that in to me because... There's a few Phils. I'm going to double check because that's not good of me. I should have written that down better. Let me have a look and I will tell you. Which Phil was it? Oh, that's because I don't know which Phil it was. Is it you, Philip Kingsford? It must be because it came from King Pro. Is that you, Phil? Anyway, I'm confused. But it's a fabulous shot kit. Thanks for sharing it. It happens when you get older. You get confused. I'm learning that. Let me just shut that mail program back down because I like to minimise the amount of CPU we soak up with other programs. Alrighty, who else has jumped into the chat box? We should have a look, shouldn't we? Let's have a look. If you wonder why I do this all the time, like I'm watching a game of Wimbledon, it is because my chat box is over there. So I have to look over there to read it. G'day, John from NC, North Carolina, guessing, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong. North Charleville, could be anywhere. I'm going to go with North Carolina. I could be completely wrong. Rick says, did I see the snow on Bluff Knoll? No, I didn't. I missed it. Didn't check it out. Nada, g'day. Gianni, how you going? Philip Kingsford, you didn't look at mine the other week. I don't mind seeing it again. Isn't that what I just did? No? Somebody else's? I don't know. Okay, I can't work it out anymore. Here comes Lee. Cool pics. How you going? Peter from the Sunshine Coast. Is it sunny on the Sunshine Coast this morning, Peter? I'm enjoying my coffee out of my Pixel Chatter cup. Thank you to Scott. Hey, I've got some goodies on the way out too. If you are part of the VIP group, I believe Patreon does the charges on the 1st of the month. I should get the notices to send out some goodies for all those new VIPs, mugs and beer can coolers and stickers and all sorts of goodies. So if you want to get some merchandise, some merch, head over to patreon.com/on3legs. You'll check it out. It was you, Philip. I thought so. Good afternoon, Chance. Nice to have you here, all the way from Arizona. Okay, let's open the mail. We got mail. There we go. There's the postal address, by the way. If you want to send me some mail, send it to P.o.Box 472, Stanhope Gardens, New South Wales, Australia, 2768. Inside, just include your return address, whether you can include an envelope with your address on it is the easiest, because then I'll just stick stuff in the envelope. And the bigger your envelope, the more stuff I can stick in there. So don't make it a little one. Alrighty. And this is from Philip, who is in the chat box. Philip Kingsford, there he is. Let's have a look and see what he sent in. Let's have a look. Alright. It is a sticker. So we don't have Brisbane on the map now. We are now going to have Brisbane on the map. There's a Brisbane sticker. That'll go up onto the worldwide sticker map, which is just up here. As you can see, it's starting to populate, and as my wife said, I didn't think it through because it's going to get pretty busy soon. We've got Bathurst here from Gary Davis. We've got Waruna, I think it is, from Ren Thielen over there. Up the top there, Dave sent in a cleverly manufactured brooch or pin, or hat pin, that he put a double-sided tape on the back, took the pin off. We have a postcard from Whakatane in New Zealand, from the Bay of Plenty. And then we have Chance's blue flag up there from Arizona. So most of our representation right now, as you can see, is down here around Australia. And Brisbane, of course, will end up having to, I don't know where I'm going to stick it, somewhere in the ocean, the Brisbane sticker, but it's great to have that there. What did Philip say? And he was clever enough. He sent me a envelope. Awesome. So that will be going back to Philip with some goodies in it. He says, "Hi Ben, great show. Please find enclosed a sticker of sunny Brisbane for the sticker map." Thanks, Phil. Awesome. There it is. That'll go up on the sticker map. After the show, I'll stick that up there. Fantastic. If you want to get your sticker up on the worldwide sticker map, there's the address. Just going to get to focus. There we go. Funny, isn't it? I just noticed. I hadn't noticed that until I just looked. That there is a fella called Daryl Summers. Wow. A bit of an Australian icon, really. He ran a show called Hey Hey It's Saturday for many years that I watched growing up as a kid. Anybody else watch Daryl Summers? Mind me if I get a bit nasally, because I've still got the remnants of my man flu. Hey, John says North Carolina was right. Yes, got it right. Got it right. Peter, another Peter from Sunny Coast, and yes, it's sunny. Awesome. Anthony says, LOL, you're going to get an envelope for me. For you, am I? Or from you? G'day, Ryan. You're welcome, Philip. We have envelopes that are the size of a small car. All right, what type of car am I sending back? Dear, oh dear, I'm asking for trouble, aren't I? Asking for trouble. All right, let me just have a sip of my coffee. All right, what shall we do next? Challenge winners. Let's do that. Let's jump across and have a look at the challenge winners. I'm going to flip across to my other screen. You're going to see my Facebook page. There we go. And I'll go to the VIP photos. Let's go to the photos. So as you can see, here's the self-portrait starting to roll in. They're starting to come. But the show that we're the album that we're after is actually in here, and it was this one here, which is black and white. Not a lot of entries for black and white. I think it challenged a few people, but it is called a challenge. It is the VIP challenge for a reason. So let's have a look and see what we had in the entries. Uh-oh. Didn't want to open, but it did. There we go. Okay. So here's one that everyone thought was a selfie of himself. Is this you, Brian? Going surfing? I said it looked like a sea lion. It just needed those big teeth coming out. Lovely day for a surf, Brian Millett. Great entry. Really cool black and white photo. Another one from Brian here. No description, but just of the moon. Of course, everyone was really excited about the moon because we had that solar eclipse. One from Chance here. Some people just hanging out in the park, checking out the fountain, contemplating life. Steve Algie. Nice moody black and white from Merriweather Beach, Newcastle. Yeah, that's a nice one there. Looks like a longer exposure. Renfield and double white lines on a country road. That's pretty in your face, isn't it? Wow. That is the white lines up there. Quite arty red. I like it. Nice patterns on the beach from Stephen Cast. That'll be over. He's the fella from Whakatane in New Zealand. The Bay of Plenty there. And then a yellowhead. Obviously, we can't see the yellow. This was by Stephen Cast as well. So good blue and black and white. Waiting for Dinner. He's called this one by Stephen Cast. Another great image. Have a look at him licking his lips. Yeah, well, the pupils of the eyes are dilated because of that sun. Amazing creatures. All right. So they're the entries. And the runner-up is... Let me find the runner-up for you. The runner-up is Stephen Cast. Yellowhead. So, well done, Stephen, for that. You get the honourable mention, as the boss calls it. The honourable mention. And the winner is Brian, with a lovely day for a surf. Thought it was a great capture. Well done, buddy. 10.5 degrees with a wind chill of 7.9 degrees. Yeah, I wouldn't be out there surfing. Not what I'd be doing. All right. So well done to those of you that sent in those images. Remember, if you want to join the very important photographers group, just go to patreon.com/on3legs. You can go and check it all out over there. And that gives you access to our online group where we hang out and take photos, which is what it's all about. All right, need to get Lightroom back up. So there you go. So what's been happening in your world, everybody? Who's excited about all this hype? Nikon is releasing a full-frame mirrorless camera. It's pretty exciting, isn't it? I'm starting to wonder, should I have bought the D850 or should I have waited? No regrets. Love the D850. And I don't know that I want to be buying the first full-frame Nikon mirrorless camera because I have a feeling that the second model will come out relatively quickly. That's what typically happens with a lot of these things. Although, having said that, Fujifilm have not re-released the medium format one they did, but they've been in that world for a long time. You know, they've been making things for other people, other companies for a while, so I think they're okay. But Nikon, on the other hand, it'll be interesting to see what's happening, but a lot of hype around it at the moment, isn't there? About this mirrorless full-frame camera. Not you, Brian, not excited? Yeah. We loved Hey Hey. It was a great show. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? It was actually, you know, I think it's a shame there's no longer a show like that on anymore. We still gather around the telly on a Saturday night and watch it. Chance has got his D800. Yeah, you got a steal there, my friend. And this is the thing, peeps. If you are looking to get into the full frame world right now, you can pick up a used D800 with how many shots did it have it on chance? It wasn't many. 2,000 shots or something? It was ridiculously low. It's been hardly used. That's the thing, is people sometimes buy these cameras and then don't use them. And some of you may have gone through that, where you've got your gear but you don't get out enough with it. I'm a bit different. I get out a fair bit. So my cameras... Well, having said that, though, my D800 only had 43,000 shots on it when I sold it. And that sounds like a lot, but I think, because I used the XT1, and the D800 became a backup for the D810 when it came out a few years ago. And now the D810 is a backup for the D850. And I haven't checked the shutter count on the D810, but it's probably got, it's probably got 30, 40,000 on it. 1,180 shots. I mean, crikey, I could do that in a weekend. So that camera is like new. So if you are thinking about upgrading, Nikon D, especially if you're a Nikon shooter, Nikon D800s right now are on the market. They're well priced. Same with mirrorless cameras. Fuji X-T1 right now on the market, really well priced. You'll pick up one for $650, $700 Australian, probably about $500 US if you're over there, maybe less. I don't know. I don't know what Chance paid for his. He might share it. Up to him if he wants to share it. But I bet you it wasn't a huge amount compared to what the new ones are. And you're getting into 36 megapixels of goodness. And you could get the D800 or you could get the D800E. It wouldn't matter. They're both great bodies. So I'd keep an eye out for those if you wanted to think about upgrading. Alrighty, yeah, well done to those guys for the challenges. Let's now jump into some image critiques. We are running on time, which is great. So I've got 2 images to go through today. 2 really nice images. Just making sure I haven't missed something. I felt like I missed something. I'm just following my run sheet, though. Everything's going well. So 2 images today. Let me jump across and show you who we've got here. I need to change my screen. Here we go. All right. So, what happened there? I didn't mean to zoom. There we go. Lee Quimby sent this one in. Lee has been travelling and took this in the middle of the day. Nice shot. We'll come to that in a second. And then we've got one here from Rob Roy, another tulip shot. Wherever this place is, I want to get there. It's amazing. It's amazing. Amazing photography location. So we'll be critiquing these 2 images very shortly when I get myself back out of here so I can tell you a bit about the shots. So this one here is Lee. We'll start with Lee's one here. Lee Quimby, who is in the... Did I see you in the chat box? Yeah, it's cool pics from memory. I think that's right. There you go. Chances says with shipping $11.50. That's amazing. Very, very good. G'day, Izzy. Nice to have you dropping into the live broadcast. Pixel Chatter. All right, so we've got Lee's shot here. Taken in, I don't know how to pronounce this. Sioux. How would I pronounce that? I don't know, something falls in South Dakota, USA. He said these falls are right in the middle of the city. This was in the midday sun with a 10-stop Lee ND filter, manually focused. It blew out some of the highlights in the bottom of the waterfall, as you can see here. We'll have a look at that shortly. Very easy to do in the midday sun. Well, any time when the sun's out. I mean, you can see the sun's quite harsh because you can see the shadows being cast here. So you can see that. Blew out some of the highlights in the bottom of the waterfall. Had a crop, pedestrian bridge overhead. So that's what these things are up here, these concrete pylons. So hence the tight crop. Wind blowing the trees in the background. So lots of motion blur, which you can see as well. Walking path on the right-hand side, about 10 foot from the pool. People standing in the path next to the falls. So he's giving me a good idea of what's going on. I love this here. Look at the detail in this. One mossy rock. Amazing. So this, let's look at it technically, and then we'll have a look at the composition and how we could have done better if we could have, or what I think anyway. Like I said, always with these pixel chatter critiques, it's just my opinion. I'm no expert. I'm just a keen photographer with a passion for sharing. So let's have a look. ISO 64, so that's good. Shot at 35mm, used a 16 to 35mm lens, so had to zoom it right in, which is the wide angle lens, which is the f4 lens. Shot at f14, so good aperture for focus throughout the entire picture, which you can see here. You can see that it's definitely sharp up the back, sharp at the front. Let's have a look at this pylon up here. Losing a little bit up the back there, but that's okay. Not sure where you focused. Looks like you might have focused right at the front here somewhere. Anyway, that's all good. F14 worked well at 61 seconds, so it was a minute long. It was probably just a tad too long looking at the highlights. This was shot on a Nikon D810. Now, anybody with a later full-frame camera, whether it's Canon, Nikon, Sony, doesn't matter what it is, the dynamic range on these things is amazing. So the first thing I would say is be okay with underexposing, okay? Check your highlights and underexpose. You'll be amazed at how much detail you can pull out of an underexposed image. And when you start shooting things like this in the middle of the day, focused on the front rock, thought so, yeah, you could tell. When you start shooting in the middle of the day, you get these problems. So you'll see all the detail is lost here. And the best way for me to do that is if I jump into the develop module and I'll turn on the highlights. Now I can see that it has been fixed, but I can quickly show you that there's a whole bunch of pixels that we've lost just by bumping these up. If I use the exposure, I'll just bump the exposure a bit. Let's have a look. So you can see the first places to go, and this is a good way to learn what to watch for. The first places to go in a waterfall is where the water is making a lot of whitewash. So you can sort of see here that where the water's hitting coming down the waterfall and hitting the bottom is where the most blown out highlights are going to be. You can then see you're going to get parts of it, but you can see a lot of it, once again, is on the steps of the waterfall. So you see that? So that tells you that when you're out doing your photography, look out for these spots in your image when you take your shot. Now, you can see, I mean, if you look at that line there, it's much brighter than anything else around it. You know, you look at the line on top of there, much brighter. So if you know that they're the spots that are more likely to pick up the sun and overexpose, then you can watch for that. You can underexpose them. Now, there's a couple of things that you can do. One is you can underexpose one image and then bump it back up when you get it into Lightroom. And if you have a camera that's got really good dynamic range, super easy to do and will give you great results. If you're shooting with something that doesn't have the dynamic range you need, or the light is far greater than you think you can pull out, then take 2 shots. Expose for the waterfall, for this section here, and then expose for the rest. And know that at some point you're going to have to do a bit of Photoshop blending. And what you would do is you'd select the 2 images, you'd then open them in Photoshop, and then you'd just bring through the bits that you need to. Doing it carefully, of course, so it can't be noticed. But you'd be able to do it on a shot like this where it's pretty straightforward. You know, it's pretty straightforward. As for so that's sort of a technical thing, you know, from a technical point of view. From a composition point of view, this would have been really hard to shoot because of the situation of this is in the middle of a city. There, you know, you've got, and it's always difficult when you've got nature or something that looks natural and man-made structures, which is this overhead walkway up the top here. It's always difficult to try and get the two to work together. In those circumstances, typically what I try to do is find an angle where I can eliminate the man-made structures, or be prepared to remove these in Photoshop. So shoot it in a way that makes it easy. Now, something like this would be relatively easy to remove because we can see the very defined lines. So we could remove that using a Photoshop, and then we could just post in some trees. This one over here, for example, though, would be much harder because to select around this tree that's in front of this pylon would be more difficult. So you'd be better off cloning an area like, you know, these trees here in front of it. Okay, and you can select, for example, you can if you go into Photoshop, you could select this line here to separate the rock, the top of the waterfall, with the top of your image, and you'd be able to then clone things in without worrying about going over this edge. But you'd be able to cover all that up really, and it would be very easy to do. Same with this one up here. So it's only my experience that tells me this, but I would have shot slightly wider and got a little bit more up higher and just worked out how to remove those things. Now, some of you will be going, but Ben, that's manipulating the photo beyond what was actually there. And some of you don't do that, and that's cool. So if that's not your thing, you wouldn't do that. But for me, I'm 100% okay with that. I probably, to be honest, wouldn't take a shot with the structures in there, but when you're traveling and you just want to get out with your camera, then it's good. This is great practice, by the way. Shooting in the middle of the day, a long exposure, is hard. So it's great practice. Let me just have my coffee before it goes cold. You know, it can be challenging, so at the best of times. So doing it in, nothing worse than when it's bright like this. In fact, that's probably the hardest conditions. I wouldn't even attempt shooting a waterfall when the sun is on it. And if you saw my last vlog in Tassie, when I went back to Tassie for the weekend and I shot King Billy Falls, it was overcast. But even when the sun came out behind the clouds, when the sun sort of penetrated the clouds a little bit more, made it a bit brighter, I moved on, because it's very difficult, because you can't control things like these shadows that are just unnatural. You know, this here, if you didn't have that shadow, would just look better. So, you know, shooting them in the middle of the day is really hard, but it's good practice. So don't be afraid to go out and give it a go. I love the effect of the long exposure, and I know Izzy's in here. Where is he? He's somewhere. Izzy's a long exposure king. He does some stuff for minutes at a time. But this effect here is a great effect. You know, you can see how it's just really nice and soft around the rock. You got this really sharp. And have you given this like a hit with the clarity brush or something? Because it's really popping out. Looks good. Looks good. Now, besides that, I think everything else is good. You know, I think it's overexposed. You know that composition was very tough because of the situation. You know that there's not much you can do about that. You know, but I would encourage everybody to get out there in the middle of the day with their big stopper and see what you can shoot with water, because it is going to teach you a lot about long exposure photography, with the benefit of having daylight. Because most of the time when you're going to shoot a 60-minute exposure, it's going to be dark. So I would suggest doing it for nothing else except practice and learning. So a big stopper, a 10 stopper, will allow you to do this during the day. Grab yourself a 10 stop filter, get out there and just have a bit of fun. Find some moving water and see if you can get it exposed properly. And you'll just see how challenging it is. Your camera will need to be a manual to shoot anything above 30 seconds. So it'll challenge you, right? Give it a go. Have a crack. And it's good practice for you. From a composition point of view, there's a couple of things, as I said, that you could do, but there's not a lot you could do. The only other thing that when I saw this first, I thought could work really well is actually is not making the horizon wonky, but let me unlock this. But instead, I hate how it does that. That's because I'm using my Wacom tablet to do cropping when I should use my mouse. The tablet is quite difficult. You know, you could possibly, and I don't know if it's going to work or not, you know, something like this where we're just really making this rock a hero of the shot, because it's gorgeous, right? It looks great. And I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm just going to try a couple of things. You know, and if you had all that exposed properly up the top there, that could work really well. Something like that. So don't be afraid when you get to a location like this. If the wider shot is too busy and crazy, don't be afraid to get in close and find different compositions, because it's natural. Especially if you're drawn to landscape photography, and I know this because I'm guilty of it. It's natural to try and go for the wide shot, but there can be some magic in going, you know, close up and really cropping tight in, and trying a different type of a crop. Even let's go to something like this. Well, let's do the classic 8x10 crop. There we go. Oh crikey, I keep doing that. I just wanted to move it. Let me do this. So 8x10, by the way, is like a large format film camera. So you could do something like that even with these rocks, you know. So there's just always other options. But of course, technically you need to get the image exposed for you to be able to do any of this. So make sure you get the technical aspects right so you can then play around. But even when you've taken a photo, because especially out of these 36 and up megapixel cameras, even 24, I think huge. Don't be afraid to crop them in a lot of different ways. And it's a bit of one of my little secrets is that I've actually spent a fair bit of time cropping my images in many different ways when I get home and learning, okay, well, next time I go out, I'm going to try that. I'm going to try different types of shots. And these closer shots like this are actually quite tough to do. Excuse my nose. So yeah, so you could do that. The other thing that you could do is even, you know, focus on a part of the waterfall with a zoom lens or something. So, you know, so like I said, don't be afraid to sort of, and you could make this almost look like it's a bigger falls than it is. Something like that maybe. Anyway, I think I think it's a good idea to try different things, and it's a good shot. Well done, well done. So I could play around with it all day. Just different things, you know. You just got to play around with it and see what you do. All right. So who's joined us in the chat box? Let's have a look and see. Whilst I get. All right. But nice image, Lee. Thanks for sending that in. Aussie Paul has joined us. How you going, Aussie Paul? Temps to be warming back up where you are because they're starting to warm up in Sydney, which is good. We like the warmer weather. Aussie Paul's up the top end of Australia in the heat. Boz Beaver, g'day. Seen the reminder just now. Sorry you're late. Don't do it again. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. Rick says, could you use a longer lens and pick parts? Yes, you could. I agree, definitely. Brian's retracted his message. He's decided that he doesn't want to say anything. Let me go back. Top shot, Lee. Yep, there he's back again. Brian's back. Must have had a spelling mistake. Rick says, Ren, do you go for wildflowers over your way? It will be all happening soon when the sunshine comes back. So, Ren, will you be out shooting the wildflowers? Be interesting to see. Tommy says, longer lens and get lower and use the stone in the foreground. Yep, definitely could do that. Bala, g'day. Joined late. That means it's your shout at the bar when we're done. If only. All right, well, good stuff. All right, we've got another image. And this time it's from the too familiar Rob Roy. Rob's had quite a few shots on here, and his photography has gone from strength to strength. check out this shot, peeps. Check out this shot. This tulip farm, wherever it is, I want to go there. How cool is it? And this here is a John Deere tractor, obviously not used anymore, I would say, and conveniently placed in the middle of the tulip fields. And just really, really nice. So let's come back out for a second and have a look at the details of the shot. And we'll have a look at technically what he's done, and then we'll have a look at, what possibly could we improve to make this photo even more striking than it already is. And it's a great photo already. So I'm going to be nitpicking on little things. And this is the thing, right? Is to me, there's just some little things we could do better. And some of it's out of your control, but we'll come back to that in a second. So let's look at the details. So Rob shoots with a Nikon D500, and he shot this at ISO 64 with his 24 to 85mm sort of kit lens. So it's shot at f20, so nice depth of field, which is a great thing to do because especially, I mean, look how close we are to these tulips down the front here, and they're still... this one's a bit blurry, but they're sharp after that, So f20 is the right choice because then you get sharpness all the way through at 65mm. So, this is a good example where you don't need to shoot wide and you're going to get a great shot. ISO is good. Everything's good. So from a technical aspect, I think everything's been done well. White balance looks good. Color looks good. Everything technically looks good. All right, let's move into composition and what could have been changed. Would have been lovely. Actually, let's just go back quickly and see if I can see what time of day this was shot. Not everybody has the time on correctly in their camera, but this says 7:02 a.m. on the 19th of April, so we'll go with that. We'll go with 7:02. It looks like it would be a better. It's definitely not in the middle of the day, and it looks like the sun is hiding. It's not popping out, is it? So for me, I think what would make this photo more amazing from a lighting point of view would be to shoot it with some light, because you can see here that yes, the sun is up, but it's behind a heap of cloud. So you get this filtered light. So it's missing that the side lights. And I'm not sure what direction we're facing, but it could do with some side lighting from the sun. It would just look amazing, and maybe a bit of colour in the sky. So I'd go back there. It's an amazing photo as it is. Everyone's sort of going, wow, that's an awesome photo. But I think if you had the right light, it would be even more amazing than it is. Now, from a composition point of view, there's a few things that we could do better. Now, I'll put the rule of thirds up so you can see what's going on from a perspective of that, so you can see how that affects the shot. You can see that the tractor's sort of up here in this top third, which is cool. A couple of things, though, that I think we could have done to change the composition dramatically. The tulips in the front here are not in focus and are detracting from things a little bit. So, yes, I know you're going to say Ben's going to go for a pano, but I would do that. The other thing is, if you have a look here on the left, there's half a tree. It's just distracting. We can get rid of that just simply by doing something like that. The other thing that we do now is we're putting the tractor in about a spot. Now, I would have liked a little bit more sky, to me. But I think a crop like that, and I know everyone's going to go, oh, Ben and the panos. I think you crop it like that, and now the tractor is a hero. The tulips just happen to be there, and that looks amazing. Now, I would have been tempted, and I don't know if Rob did this or not, I would have been tempted to try a couple of different angles, because one of the challenges with the trees behind the tractor is that they're sort of, it's there's not a lot of separation here. And if you move to the left a bit, you'd still be able to get in a lot of the tractor. You probably wouldn't get the name of the tractor in. But by moving to the left, the tractor would start about here, and you wouldn't see these trees here, and you'd probably see the mountains or whatever's over here. But we don't know what's to the right, so it's very hard for me to comment with great certainty of how it would have looked. Not saying that this is a bad composition. I think it's a good composition, and I think if you just got a little bit more sky in your crop, just because I think it's a bit close to the top of those trees, I think it would have worked really nice like this. But it is a stunning shot, nevertheless. Like it just, it's a great shot. Let's try a couple of other crops just so we can see. Don't be afraid to use some of the presets in here, right? Let's use a large format 8x10 crop and see what that would do to our image. Once again, if you were shooting with a large format film camera, this is what you would have been forced to sort of think about. Is maybe that composition. What else have we got in here? Let's try something else. Let's do a 5x7. Okay, so that opens it up a little bit more. Yeah, so once again, making the tractor a little bit more of a hero, and it's a hard thing to do. It's a very even if we do the 2x3, you can see that Rob has cropped this from the original. So he has done some cropping, which tells me that there's probably more sky there or more foreground there than we're seeing. But, just cropping it a bit tighter, it does make it a bit better. So although it's even open, it's still okay. To me, I'm being, like I said, I'm going to be nitpicky. I'm not really, I'm pretty impressed, to be honest with you. It's a great shot, great location. And, I think it would make an amazing pano. Just trying to find the right spot to really crop it into a pano again. Here we go. Oh, look at that. I think I would put that on my wall. Hey, we're back. Pretty sure I'm back. I'm back. Just got to... Yeah, there we go. That's my... All right. The good thing is, we know how to handle it. We're all well trained at the computer crash. Okay, where was I? We were checking out Rob's photo in Lightroom. Oh, instead, you've got a fungi shot. That's not what we want. Okay, let me get back to the library. Holy moly. And we'll jump back into here. Wowee. That's what we were looking at. It was this amazing photo. All right. So, it gives you time to make coffee. Now, I'm getting quicker at getting things restarted. So, you'd want to be a quick coffee maker. That'd be for sure. Otherwise, you're going to miss out. So, I'm definitely getting faster at getting things up and running. So, the gaps, you'd have to say the gaps are pretty short between crash and back up and running. All right. So yeah, great shot. I'm really, I'm impressed. The only other thing that you could do because of the trees, and we're back at the original crop, by the way, which is a good crop as well. I was just giving you some of the things or the examples of what you could do. Can you hear me? I don't know. What's going on here? Pretty sure I'm back. I'm back. Just gotta... Yeah. Am I back? Can you hear me? I think I'm back. I don't know what happened then. That was a totally different thing that happened. Then the software that I use for the line streaming just booted me out. Holy moly. All right, let's... Oh, dear. Holy moly. This live streaming stuff is going to do my head in one day. The beauty... At least you know it's live, eh? There's no pre-recording here. There's no lip-syncing going on here. This is all live. Anyway, the only thing I would do, and it looks like a little bit has been done, and this is the way to separate the tractor from the background, is with the clarity brush. So, you know, if you really want things to be, you know, stand out in your shot, is hit some of it with the clarity brush. But I think Rob might have already done. I'm going to have to back that off a tad because it's too much clarity. You can have too much of a good thing. It's true. But I wouldn't change much else, to be honest with you. It's a great looking photo. So well done to Rob for that. I think, yeah, I think we should give him a round of applause for that shot because it's a cracker. It's a cracking shot, Rob. Cracking shot. All right, I think I'm back. But, oh my gosh, the computer is having a coronary again. I can hear the fans going. I'll just shut Lightroom. That'll fix that problem. Lightroom's shut. It's gone. Finished. Finito. Adobe, I'm done with you. I'm going to go back to the old days where we just did it in a dark room. No. Oh my gosh. Shot because it's a cracker. It's a cracking shot, Rob. Cracking shot. All right, I think I'm back. But oh my gosh, the computer is having a coronary again. I can hear the fans going. I'll just shut Lightroom. That'll fix that problem. Lightroom's shut. It's gone. I'm back. I'm back. Holy moly. I'm back. Holy moly, you like that selfie mic? Thanks. I don't think it was very good at all. Looked terrible. All right. Let's see what's going on here. Something good. Oh, dear, oh, dear. Good thing we're at the end of the show because we can just wrap it up, can't we? You know? Anyway, just a reminder, if you want to get your sticker on the Worldwide Sticker Board, send in a sticker to this address. Let me see if I can get that to focus. There we go. Ben Fewtrell, P.o.Box 472, Stanhope Gardens, New South Wales, Australia 2768. Send in your stickers for the Worldwide Sticker Board. We'll get you up there on the Worldwide Sticker Board. And you can join everybody else up there and come and watch the show that crashes on a regular basis. We can become famous for that, you know, the show that crashes. Do you know of any other show that crashes as often as this one? No. Well, that makes us unique. Makes us unique. All right. Well, thanks to those of you that sent your images in. If you want to get your images critiqued on the show, Ben at on3legs.com. Try and make them 3,000 pixels on the longest edge as the minimum. Do whatever you like to them. Send them in as a JPEG, and I will check them out on the show and critique them. Also, if you've got a shot kit you want to share, we'd love to see what's inside your bag. So shoot your shot kits and shoot them in via email also to ben at on3legs.com. Yes, Daryl Summers is on a stamp, Nathan. You spotted that as well. Daryl Summers. We're celebrating Daryl Summers. There he is. Daryl Summers. Yes, good old Daryl Summers. That's it. Thanks so much for joining me. We nearly made it all the way, didn't we? We were very close. We were very close. And then we had the crashes. But you know what? I don't stress about it anymore. We just get into it. So, yeah, thanks for joining me. And you know what I say? Get out there and take some photos. Go and have some fun. Cheerio.